Hey gang, how's everybody doing? Isn't life wonderful? It's even more wonderful whenever you're aware and you're not stupid. Let me get it up closer so the audio is loud enough. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This video, I don't understand. Why are you people, most of you, so damn stupid? If you can't figure out things for yourself. And why is it back in 1962, people still, they didn't figure out how Kennedy was shot when he was in Dallas in that Lincoln convertible limo, going down that street in Dallas. I can't believe the stupidity of people, in general. Hasn't it ever clicked in any of you people's brains? Think about something. Okay, Jacqueline Boviar, I think was her maiden name, Kennedy. Okay, let's talk about her for a minute. Let's focus on that girl, okay? Actually, I like her. I've heard video recordings of her, and actually, she was very simple-minded. She wasn't a complex, intelligent person. She was very simple-minded and the type of a person you would find in some small town that was just, you know, plain or whatever. But see, she had this mourning period of about a year. And notice how a person like her, they're going to hop over the ocean and go to a shithole country like Greece and then marry this old asshole that's only 5 feet tall and is a person of anger and wicked shit. Aristotle Onassis. Hasn't that ever occurred to you people? Have you never stopped to friggin' think about that? And then why did he want to marry her? That guy back then, around 1963, 64, worth billions of dollars. Why did he want to marry someone like her? He could have, I mean, because he could have had a flock. I mean, well, he did have a flock. I mean, of many, many party girls, that were teenage girls and, some in their 20s, with great figures and stuff. So he could get all the sex he wanted. Why in the hell would he want to marry her? And then his wife, see, she had left him some years earlier. She was murdered too, by the way. They said she committed suicide. Bullshit. A person that's rich is not going to commit suicide, people, because they can have anything they want. And any human, whether you're a man or a woman, especially women, you can be worth billions of dollars. All you have to do is just change up your looks a little, different color hair, or you could even wear a paste on beard, or, if you have a beard, shave it off. You can go out in public and not be noticed, you know, to live a free lifestyle without bodyguards or whatever. But anyway, when Kennedy was shot back then, okay, what that was, I'm not going to say exactly who because they might want to come after me if they heard this video. But it was, money buys money. People will do anything for money, 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 money. Okay, it was before Kennedy was shot. It was about 6 months before he was shot. Aristotle Onassis was caught by the U.S. Coast Guards and Navy peddling oil off of barges on U.S. waters. On U.S. waters. Oh, yeah. millions and millions and millions, because each barge would have like $10 million worth of oil on it. And he was peddling that on United States waters illegally. All right, he was caught. He was caught. Okay, he was arrested at a nightclub. Uh, it was up in New York City. Because him and his son, that punk or whatever that got killed later. Hell, I forgot his name. Shit, I don't even remember his name. It doesn't matter now. But he had the one son and then the daughter. What was her name? Christine, I think. She got real fat. But anyway, you notice they weren't around very long either, after this. But, because what goes around comes around. And then Aristotle Onassis had Kennedy shot when he was in Dallas that day in that convertible Lincoln. But then you go figure. The Kennedys, had Norma Jean, Marilyn Monroe murdered in that hotel room, people. And then the one guy, the Chappaquiddick affair, the one Kennedy guy, he drove that car off in that large lake, um, Chappaquiddick Lake or whatever, or river, whatever it was, and drowned Mary Copaci. You see, they murdered them. And both times for the same reason. Mary Copaci was pregnant, and Marilyn Monroe was pregnant with a child of JFK. See, they murdered them. See, that was for political reasons. So, and then other rich assholes murdered one of them. And so it comes around. And then another one, Kennedy was shot that was having a speech somewhere. There you go. Money, 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 money. But here's after Aristotle Onassis was arrested. It was back around 1961, around in there in New York, when him and his son, a nightclub he would go to there because he knew the owner of that club. He was arrested one night, okay, taken in, and then a senator met with him, okay, the next morning and said, you were caught peddling oil. 12 of your barges have been on U.S. water, and you were selling oil. And he said, Ari, what is going to happen? Okay, it's already been decided. You broke federal laws. You're going to be extradited from Greece and have to serve time in a United States prison. Here we go. All right. All right. So what happened from there? And he said, you know, you're going to have to work this out, or whatever. And that case was coming up, but it was told, to Aristotle, he was told. But if the only thing that could save you now, you'd have to marry the First Lady of the United States, of the President, to where they couldn't extradite you or imprison you if you married the First Lady of the United States. Well, 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 how about that? Okay, so he goes back to Greece. He's got time until the sentence was put on him. He'd have to do prison in the United States prison. Okay, from there, suddenly Kennedy is shot in the head in Dallas, Texas, in that Lincoln convertible. Okay. He was shot from the front because it got him on this part of the head right here. And also the way that is known by where it's recorded is because of the direction his head went when the impact hit his head. Okay. Took off, the right part of his upper skull or whatever. Okay. Lee Harvey Oswald, that was just a pawn. And then the guy that shot him, he shot him. He was paid to shoot him. His first name was Jack. He was paid to shoot him for the reason that if Lee Harvey Oswald would have been able to go to court before he was charged with killing the president back then, he could have offered proof, testimony that he couldn't have possibly done. See? So they're like, you're going to have to kill him too. The scapegoat pawn. There you go. There you go. And then this Jack, went to prison or whatever, did time for it, but he was willing to do it. Jack was a nightclub owner in Dallas. It's because he was told, if you don't do it, you're going to be killed. So do it, and we'll pay you money to do it. Well, they didn't pay the money or hide him or help him change his identity. They let him fall and take the rap for it and do prison time. The Jack that killed Lee Harvey Oswald. Well, after Jackie's mourning period, see, they played that cool. They said, give it a little time, give it a little time, about a year. Isn't that amazing? She's going to hop over the ocean and go to Greece and marry this old asshole that's 5 feet tall that looks like crap. And she's going to marry him. Why would she do that? Well, because she was told, do it or you're going to be killed. But then, if you do it, you're going to be allowed to have fun, freedom, and all the money that the world has to offer. Because the guy was worth doing. So she had to decide, and she didn't want to be killed. Nobody does. So it's like, oh, well, might as well do it because, her husband was gone now. So she marries the asshole. But over time, what goes around comes around. And I'm not going to tell you the source Aristotle Onassis used to have that shooting done in Dallas. Because I don't want them coming after me. Let's just say it was people with money, power, and influence. You people know that exists, man. You know that exists. It's like, let's say Trump, if he got it in for you, any chief of police or sheriff, he could get them to do anything to you that he wanted. There you go. It's money. Or if they don't do it, it's like, well, then we'll do this to you. You see? That's how the game works, people. That's how the game works. It's who has the most money. Money is king, okay? But anyway, I told you why that was done and how that was done. I told y'all, but Lee Harvey Oswald, totally innocent, just a regular guy, simple-minded type guy. You know, that Jack, an asshole that owned a nightclub in Dallas, rich asshole. But they ended up letting him take the rap. So, you see what I mean? It's sort of like Trump and Bill Clinton let Jeff Epstein take the rap and Ghislaine Maxwell, or no, what's her last name? Ghislaine Maxwell? Yeah, and then Jeffrey Epstein. He let them take the rap for their fucking bullshit. And so, there you go. It's who has the most money, the most influence wins. But what is the thing about it, people, it's all going to work out. There's going to be justice, karma, thou hast reapeth what they sow, not only in the afterlife, but in the physical life. You notice how Aristotle's son, Alexander, He gets killed in what, a plane crash? All right. Then his daughter, Christine, she dies at only 33 years old, I think it was. There you go. She was miserable all the time, hated life. She was depressed. It was said that Christine Onassis had inherited everything, well, other than what Jacqueline got. You know, she would actually pay men just to spend one day a week with her. She would pay them that she would nobody wanted to be around her. Well, she didn't have any substance, or whatever about them. But I don't know. My video, you might say, well, Earl, you're leaving out too many details. Yeah, for a reason, because I don't want to be killed. That's why. I'm not going to tell too much. Some things are too easy to figure out. I mean, when I worked for high drill subsea, drilling and equipment, I've been around people, and where the money trail leads. These things. Like when COVID started around January, February, March of 2020, I knew every bit of that fucking shit was made up. And if you people would have looked at War I, to where in 1919, during World War One, people were lined up wearing face masks. Don't you understand? They was just redoing the same thing. Then injections that caused what was called the Black Death. Don't you people get it? And now people that took the COVID injections are fucking dying. And then or mortician John O'Looney, people that have had COVID injections that were in accidents or died, how that in their organs he pulls out long pieces of rubber that looks like fix-a-flat in their main arteries. Yeah, there you go, people. That's what they injected in them. That explains the heart attacks and parts of the brain being clogged from blood, which is why people are so fucking stupid and mindless nowadays. So you just don't get it because you believe in what media is telling you, mainstream news media. So you need to quit listening to that shit. Nearly all of it is made up. It's made up because see, they got to keep it going to make money, by getting paid by these advertisers or whatever. That's how that works. It's just a big. The United States is a gambling casino. New York Stock Exchange. What do you think that is? It's the capital of all gambling. That's all it is. It's not about agriculture. It should all be about agriculture. Because any asshole, I don't care how rich they are, Donald Trump, is that his name? Yeah. See, I could care less. He's having to live off meat and vegetables. Well, there you go. Somebody had to work this all for that to happen, right? It's all about agriculture. But anyway, I I can only say this, and this is just wake up call for you people, like your head. Here's your head. Wake up, wake up. Why did Jackie Kennedy go to Jackie Bouvier Kennedy run over to Greece and bury a short asshole after Kennedy was shot? Uh, wake up. There you go. Anyway, later. I love you, Almighty God. I love you, Jesus Christ. I'm just trying to make my brothers and sisters start using their brain, Jesus Christ, to start thinking, using their brain. Anyway, later.